Malarogan may have been recaptured by the Ukrainians, but there isn't much left of the village. Located just 4 kilometers from the country's second largest city, Kharkiv, Malarogan is strategically placed. Retaking it was a tiny but important victory for Ukrainian soldiers. Bodies of Russian troops still line the streets here. Moving around in the village has to be done with caution. The Russians have laid mines everywhere. 3,500 people lived in this village before the war started a month ago. Only a few dozen have stayed.
As the war in Ukraine endures, so does the diplomatic fallout. In the latest round of expulsions on Tuesday, several EU countries kicked out dozens of Russian diplomats suspected of spying. The Netherlands expelled 17 officials, with Dutch intelligence services reportedly finding that they were actually Moscow's own intelligence officers. Those suspected of espionage were told to leave the country within 2 weeks. A similar operation got underway in Belgium, where the country's foreign minister Sophie Willis announced 21 people working in the Russian embassy and consulate were identified in involvement in espionage and influence operations threatening national security.
Fighting between government forces and the M23 rebel group has sent thousands of people on the run in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. It's not the first time. 9 years ago, M23's fighters took control of swathes of territory along the border with neighbouring Rwanda. It's widely believed to be a proxy of Rwanda's government, although Rwanda denies it. Congo's army blames Rwanda for the recent attacks, which started on Tuesday. Congolese officers paraded these 2 prisoners in front of journalists in the city of Goma and said they were Rwandan soldiers fighting for the armed group.
It's one of the most infamous cases in Mexico's recent history. Dozens of trainee teachers were kidnapped by corrupt police officers and handed over to a drugs gang. It's believed they were tortured before being murdered. HSON, an independent panel of experts, has revealed the Mexican military knew what was happening to them at the time. The students had been under surveillance because their college was considered a hotbed of subversion. Their parents are demanding action from the government. The kidnapping sparked years of protests across Mexico. An original government investigation was condemned as a whitewash, leading to a fresh inquiry.
Another decision likely to divide a nation.
Based on Chapter 72 of the Constitution, I announce today, at this historical moment, the dissolution of the Representative Council to protect the state.
Saied acted after 124 of Parliament's 217 members held an online meeting on Wednesday, their first since he suspended the legislator 8 months ago. A few hours later, the president responded.
Unfortunately, we are witnessing a coup attempt, but it is a failed one. The national duty requires today the protection of all the people and the homeland, based on the articles of the Constitution.
But a coup is exactly what opponents have spent months accusing Saied of staging since last July, when he sacked the Prime Minister, froze Parliament and granted himself new sweeping powers.
An astonishing haul, the largest of any illegal substance in the state's history. A cargo so precious, it's guarded at gunpoint. 416 kilograms of cocaine on the street, upwards of $250 million worth. An intricate importation, straight from the pages of fiction, but busted off South Australia's shores. Acting on intelligence, police began tracking the movement of the Kypros Bravery, an international bulk carrier with a crew of 20. Zelensky as it headed into outer harbour at a deep water site several nautical miles off York Peninsula. It offloaded the drugs into the ocean, packed and ready for a pre-arranged pickup, the details of which police won't divulge. Border Force got there first. In port, the ship was searched too, evidence of the trafficking allegedly found, and 4 men on board arrested.
Dangling above the trees on Mount Disappointment, specialist police drop into dense and dangerous terrain. And what they discovered below was a disaster. 5 people are feared dead, a pilot and his passengers. Their helicopter crushed after falling from the sky. 9 News understands the group of cattle farmers was on a charter flight to Yarrawonga. The helicopter left Moorabbin Airport with 4 passengers on board just after 7 a.m. It stopped at the helipad on the Yarra River opposite Crown, then flew in a convoy with a second microflight aircraft heading north. But as it flew over Mount Disappointment near Lake Eildon, it vanished from sight. The second chopper, with another 5 people on board, raised the alarm, diverting and landing in Mangalore before flying back to Melbourne.
In almost every movie he started, from Pulp Fiction to Die Hard,
come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Bruce Willis's characters somehow always beat the odds. But tonight, that announcement that he's stepping away from acting. His family, including his wife Emma and his ex-wife Demi Moore, releasing a joint statement posted on Moore's Instagram account. Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. Aphasia is a disorder that can affect a person's ability to produce and or comprehend language.